everyone once again to a brand new edition of Dumbest Person on the Internet. This is Rowdy Chris Lee Moore, joined, thankfully, by the last of the Americans, James Faraci. Welcome once again to the program.
Glad to be on, and today's a very special day. Today, I just posted my review of Clerks 3.
Okay, nice to hear that. Before we get started, I'll let the viewers know at least the details. Yes, this was a segment we used to do back when I was live streaming, and while those live streams have basically been shelved for the time being, it is entirely possible we will continue to, on occasion, do segments like this, on and off. In fact, hopefully by next month, you may see the return of Rowdy Reads to the website as well in pre-recorded sessions. But we're going to go ahead and do again another issue of this off and on bit we did, and just so you guys know, especially for reference of if we ever do this again in the future, there is basically a format that I plan on how I'm going to eventually do this, and I'll let you know by explaining the process of how we got to this, to making this video. So I found something incredibly stupid on the web, and I did what I probably would have normally done in any circumstances. I sent it over to Nash Bozard for the chance that it might appear on What the F Is Wrong With You and Radio Dead Air. So I waited until the following Monday, and it didn't make the show, which is fine. That's his right. If he's got a number of other stories he thought were even worse than that, hey, just fine. I just look at it as saying if the story didn't make RDA, it's fair game for me. And if it's good enough that I think it's worth making a video on after that, I'll go ahead and do it.
Opinion,
yeah.
If it's what I think it's about, Nash should have done it.
Oh, and yeah, I believe
for not doing it.
Now there might be some reason. I will say there might be some reasons why Nash perhaps chose not to do this. Number one is the media site we're primarily sourcing for this is, of course, the infamous Deadspin. And in fact, we may be having a very a history-making episode here, and we might be covering one of the last stories Deadspin will ever publish, because for those not aware, they just got bought out and their entire staff was laid off. So what's going to happen to Deadspin and maybe the rest of the Kotaku umbrella, we have yet to know. But yeah.
Well, may I say something really quickly?
Absolutely.
You know those Nimrods from Chicago?
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that happens to them.
Well, that's the subject for another day. We're just going to get into this. But like I said, yeah, this definitely is stuff that Nash could have seen as valid for his show, because we're looking at a clear case of it's not your money, and maybe the biggest Florida man example we have ever seen in our lives. Let me see. I'm gonna start. Give me a moment. I'm going to at least link the primary story over to you, because I've actually got now at least 3 sources regarding this absolutely insane situation going on here. Let me get you over to your channel here. I'm gonna post a link to you over in Discord for you right here, so maybe you can follow it.
Right.
But yeah, there is probably one of the absolute craziest stories, and also one of the bases. And also maybe the fact that it involves a sports team, maybe Nash wasn't interested, but here we go for the video audience. Jacksonville Jaguars embezzler went full Florida man with his $22 million. No, Amit Patel didn't buy a dump truck of meth. He gambled most of it away and then spent the rest on stuff you just can't make up. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The Florida man in Amit Patel, the Jaguars employee who embezzled $22 million from the team, was very strong. You'd expect that much ill-gotten cash would be spent on things that the cast of The Italian Job would buy, but this is the land of parrot heads, so the preferred route is to go hog wild at the sports book and then blow the rest on weird online purchases. In a court filing Thursday, federal prosecutors detailed Patel's expenditures, and it read like a remake of Blank Check. There was...
We all know what happened on that one.
Yeah, there was $600,000 on Apple products, $47,113 for a Tiger Woods putter,
That's why I probably beat him with.
No, well, maybe. $40,000 at Amazon and Best Buy, $140,412 on eBay, and my personal favorite, that's a quote from the writer, so it's his personal favorite, the man who wrote this article.
Yeah. You don't have a personal NFL favorite.
Yeah, well,
I used to have one, but...
Well, here we go. $9,477 at the Jaguars Team Shop and Stadium Club. So let's...
Seriously?
This is the one that gets me more than everything. Now, admittedly, let's say this. $9,500 is a very small portion of $22 million at least. But still, what we basically have here is this guy stole money from his employer and then, for all intents, gave a portion of it back to them by spending it in their own gift shop. And that would be dumb enough if we were talking about him buying maybe Dallas Cowboys merchandise or at least Kansas City Chiefs merchandise. But no, this is the Jacksonville Jaguars we're talking about here.
I mean, even the fans and the people who work with the New York Jets, who are barely my favorite team now, they wouldn't do that. Unless they're willing to buy a good enough quarterback to get them that magic one win to the Super Bowl, which is a whole load of shit.
Which they tried, and that didn't seem to work very well last season. But that's a whole other story again. But again, here's maybe the other reason why Nash might not have been interested in the story, because much of the rest of this, the writer basically does Nash's job for him. Because we go into full critique mode here. This is quoting the writer himself in the story. Dude, you worked for the organization. I'm sure someone could have hooked you up with cheap and or free swag. Also, how are you going to spend $2,200 on a game-used Trevor Lawrence jersey? Just go down to the locker room after a game and swipe a bunch of jerseys from the laundry, or try asking. I'm sure there are plenty of latent felons around. Quick note to
Florida? Yeah, there would be.
Quick note to the Jaguars. If your financial manager is dropping thousands of dollars at the team shop like he's on a shopping spree, or showing up at the stadium club draped in merch, maybe check your books. But who knows, perhaps they thought Patel was paying off his Tesla by driving for Uber. More on that later. But here we go. Patel's lawyer, Alex King, who was retained with $275,000 of the excess funds, said his client has a gambling addiction and that 99% of the misappropriated funds were used to pay back gambling losses. King cited a gambling addiction as the cause of Patel's maleficence, as if an alcoholic who plows into a group of pedestrians should be given leniency because substance abuse is a disease. To be honest, though, this is as close to a victimless crime as you're going to get. Jaguars owner Shahid Khan owns AEW and an EPL club. That would be Fulham FC, just because I happen to know that. So his coffers probably aren't hurting for money. Plus, not too long ago, Nick Foles got away with $88 million. Sure, it was a legally binding 4-year contract, but it was still a heist. Hey, that guy did win a Super Bowl, just so you know. So, Factor in the karma of the NFL getting in bed with sports books, and then having some whack job team employee bilk a franchise out of $22 million, and the whole thing is high comedy.
Emphasis on the high.
Yeah. Patel dropped $77,000 at the Ponte Vedra Beach Inn and Club, including $25,581 on an initiation fee, and then another $5,508 on massages and cucumber water.
Oh, boy.
And, okay, so and here's what we're going to get some other things here. Like I said, his lawyer said he spent 99% of the funds to pay back gambling losses. Now, I was already calling kind of BS on that because I did some math here, and long story on that, at the very least, what 99% of $22 million is, I don't remember the exact amount, but basically if you took that and added the $275,000 for his lawyer's retainer, that's basically the $22 million all right there. So,
yeah.
Where would all the money for all these other purchases have come? Well, I was able to find out because, at the very least, they linked to that article in this Deadspin article. I've got the ESPN story that originally covered this, so we'll switch over to this now. Actually, I'll link it to I'll link it to you as well here.
Okay, thanks.
So here's ESPN's original report on the story.
Okay, let's see this. And
okay,
I know what you're probably thinking with AEW already. So
well, that's all stories for another time. We're just focusing on this guy's idiocy. So, as ESPN reported, Amit Patel, the former Jacksonville Jaguars employee who deposited $22 million stolen from the team primarily at FanDuel and DraftKings, spent $5 million on a life of luxury, including Tiger Woods' 1996 putter and $78,800 in private jets, federal prosecutors said in a court filing Thursday. Patel also spent $275,000 to retain his attorney, Alex King, according to the filing. In the filing, prosecutors rebutted King's assertion that his client's behavior was fueled by gambling addiction and that 99% of the misappropriated funds were used to pay back gambling losses. Instead, authorities say $5 million went to his personal expenses. According to the documents, Patel transferred approximately $20 million to FanDuel and $1 million to DraftKings, which ESPN previously reported, and used the rest of the stolen money on various other expenditures, including nearly $600,000 at Apple and more than $40,000 at Amazon and Best Buy combined. He also transferred $5 million from his FanDuel and DraftKings accounts to his PayPal and other personal accounts, the filing said, and used it on a variety of purchases. King and a representative from the U.S. Attorney's Office did not respond to a request for comment. Okay. Patel continued to spend the stolen funds even after he was fired by the Jaguars in February 2023, including paying annual dues at his country club, according to the filing. He also purchased a game-used Trevor Lawrence jersey for $2,200 on eBay on December 8th, 3 days after prosecutors filed charges against him and 6 days before he pleaded guilty. Prosecutors also included photos of Patel at Formula One's Miami Grand Prix in May 2022, the Jaguars' October 2022 game in London, the team's January 2023 game in Kansas City, and the 2023 Pegasus World Cup, a high-stakes horse race in Florida. Among Patel's numerous other purchases detailed in the court filing are more than $278,000 for hotels, rental properties, and travel, including $78,000 $800 for private jet charters, more than $200,000 for golf memorabilia, including $47,113.92 to purchase Tiger Woods' 1996 U.S. Amateur Champion Scotty Cameron gifted putter, more than $77,000 at the private Ponte Vedra Beach Indian Club, including a $25,581.30 initiation fee and $5,508.35 for spa treatments, $140,412.97 on eBay, $69,025.26 with Ticketmaster. Here's the one that really gets me when you feel like he was already spending money on private planes. Also, a combined $70,362.06 with Delta, United, American, Southwest, and JetBlue Airlines.
Well, private jet fuel is expensive.
Yeah. And a combined $9,477.11 with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Jaguars Pro Shop, the Stadium Club, and the Stadium. So basically, not only is it, so again, this guy was, he was chartering private jets for himself to travel, and then you also decide, you know what, I'm getting kind of bored with my own personal travel. Just how well is it to travel on JetBlue?
Yeah, I've traveled on JetBlue. That's how I got to Florida for family.
Well, I mean, I have not, but at least from what I've heard about JetBlue is, at least they're not Spirit Airlines. But just a moment. Now, if you think that all of that is ridiculous, this guy basically stole $22 million from an NFL club, and his first instinct, especially after they caught him, was not to at least flee the state. Because actually that's what the Deadspin writer says here to almost finish it up, is when he says, the first thing I'm doing with $22 million is buying property as far away from Florida as possible, and the last thing I'm doing, other than frittering it away on misguided parlays, is buying memorabilia. But, again, so here's the real kicker. Now, he made that comment about perhaps they thought Patel was paying off his Tesla by driving for Uber. That's not a joke. Because we look here to this story, published by the Florida Times Union, which basically is Jacksonville's local paper. I'm going to go ahead and link that to you right now. Yes, indeed, was accused, Uber fare in for Monday Night Football, says his driver in a Tesla was the accused swindler from Jaguars. So, yes, seriously? This guy, the moment he got fired by the Jaguars, his decision in finding a new job was to start driving for Uber with the car he bought with the stolen money. To say this here, when you get in the back of when you get in the back of a rideshare like Uber, you never really know what kind of driver you're going to get. And that is the case for Chris Cheney and his wife. They got into an Uber at Jacksonville International Airport when they came to town with a group of friends from Cincinnati on Friday. They were spending a nice, long weekend in Jacksonville before going to Monday Night Football. Nothing out of the ordinary, Cheney said, according to Times Union news partner First Coast News, ordered the Uber and the driver shows up in a Tesla. He didn't know it during that Friday ride to his rental house in Ponte Vedra, but it turns out the guy driving the Uber was Amit Patel, a former Jacksonville Jaguars employee who is charged with stealing a little more than $22 million from the team. Among his lavish purchases was a 2021 Tesla Model 3 sedan, according to federal court documents. So,
wow.
I mean, again, you gotta give credit. Like, apparently you steal $22 million and you still think you need another job after you get fired from the company you stole that money from. I mean, I'm not going to get into details here because it's not really that important, but just my dad went out of retirement to start driving a bus for a local school district because long story short, he was afraid that what he and my mother are getting in stock dividends that they inherited from his mother wouldn't be enough to live on. But let's just say what they're getting is a little less than $22 million. And I mean,
obviously.
Props for the guy for his work ethic, I suppose. They figures he still needed some type of job after he had $22 million in the bank, or maybe he's already preparing for, again, he's already preparing for his job after, but that will be hoping he gets off, because I think they said prosecutors are looking for a minimum of 5 years in prison. I drive for Uber now, and I can tell you, they'll cut you off if you go, I think, more than a month without logging in to drive. I don't think they're gonna wait 5 years for this guy to get out of prison to put him back on.
Not at all.
So, yeah, this might be a movie here. I mean, this could almost be the unofficial sequel to Catch Me If You Can, almost. Because you get a guy who's embezzling money from, well, what passes for an NFL club. That's Urinating Trees department to discuss what the Jacksonville Jaguars are as a franchise. They're
better than the New York Jets, I'll tell you that right now.
Perhaps, yeah, but so you then claim it's on gambling, and maybe you do put it into sports gambling accounts. Then you start spending the rest of it on your country club and private jets, and also besides, you're still humble enough to fly low-fare airlines as well. And then they find out and they fire you, and you still start spending the money anyway, and apparently thinking that money's eventually gonna get away, so yeah, I gotta drive for Uber just to make certain. You know, at the very least, you can work your schedule around your court dates.
Yeah, this guy, he's a real rocket scientist from Florida.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but yeah, that is one guy that, again, I try to not say much bad about Florida, just because, especially because a guy that I know one friend of mine that said the problem isn't so much the natives of Florida. It's the fact that all the crazies from elsewhere around the country and the world flock there because of the weather and whatnot. Now, and to be fair, I don't know if Amit Patel's originally from Florida, but for it to happen to one of Florida's professional sports franchises, not giving the state any better of a reputation, let's just say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there is our next issue of Dumbest Person on the Internet. Hopefully we may have more issues for this. We find more stories that can't make What the F is Wrong with You, but we'll find a way to maybe put them in for next time. Definitely want to thank James Faraci for tuning in, for joining us for this next segment. Well, maybe we might have you on another time. Maybe I mix it up and have another guys just to have some variety on there. But definitely Mr. Faraci will always be on my list of potential co-hosts for any of these news segments that I believe will require a partner on. So hopefully, and we'll continue to provide more stuff for you as it goes on. Remind you all, I might as well, since James plugged his stuff, I might as well end this on reminding everyone who watches this that at the time of this video's posting, in about another week after that, will be the next Rowdy Reviews Patreon video. And then let's just say we've got something very special planned for the week after that. And if you happen to know what date that Monday is going to be on,
I know
I'll
what that
just
date is.
I'll just leave it at that for now. So once again, thanks to James for tuning in. Yes,
Chris.
Yes.
One thing I really need to plug is that at next month is a big musical review of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog with its own original story done by me to kind of kickstart the end of a storyline that I've been doing that will unfortunately kill a movie that I've been busting my ass to do, but I'm not killing it outright.
Well, we'll keep that in mind, definitely. So, thanks very much for James tuning in. Thanks to everyone who's watching this video. I'll be continuing to find a way to make sure to post weekly content for you all, even if I might only be doing one Rowdy Patreon and one TV Trash per month for the foreseeable future. We'll continue to keep trying to provide you as much good stuff as possible. So until next time, as always, stay rowdy, my friends.